Get your junk and get out of our house, Mom. We're millionaires now. We don't need your little pension money. Just go rot somewhere else. That's what my son said as he tossed my suitcase onto the porch. He and his wife were still grinning at their brand new $58 million lottery ticket when I started laughing and said, "Baby, you sure you read whose name is printed on that thing?" If you're listening to this, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. My name's Lorraine Carter. Most folks just call me Laurie, and I'm a 68-year-old grandma from East Texas. Let me roll it back and show you exactly how my own child tried to throw me out after his big win, and how the state lottery, a small print line on a receipt, and my late husband's final gift turned the whole thing upside down.
Every Friday for almost 30 years, I did the same thing. I'd walk down to Al's Quick Stop on Pine Street, buy a gallon of milk, a scratch-off for fun, and one Powerball ticket with the exact same numbers. Didn't matter if I was sick or broke, mad at the world. If it was Friday, I was getting my ticket. Those numbers weren't random. 5, the day I married my Joe. 11, the day my son Travis was born. 19, my daughter's birthday. God rest her soul. 28, the year Joe and I bought our tiny brick house. 32, the number of years he wore the same beat-up work boots. Powerball 7, because Joe always said 7 was God's favorite number. It was our little ritual. Sometimes Joe would kiss the ticket and say, "If this thing ever hits, Lori, you better not let these kids talk you out of your good sense." I thought he was joking. Then cancer came, and he wasn't there on Fridays anymore, but the habit stayed. I kept playing our numbers. I'd tuck the ticket behind his photo in my wallet and whisper, "All right, old man, one more try." The year Joe died, the house felt too quiet. The mortgage was paid off, thank the Lord, but Social Security didn't exactly stretch like it used to. That's when Travis started pushing. "Mom, you shouldn't be all alone over there. Big house, big yard. What if you fall? What if you get sick and nobody knows?" His wife Brooke sat beside him in her designer jeans, nodding like one of those dashboard bobbleheads. "It just makes sense," she chimed in. "We've got that spare room over the garage. You move in with us, sell your house, have cash in the bank, and we'll take care of everything. You deserve to relax." It sounded loving. It also sounded a whole lot like what Joe had warned me about. But grief makes you soft round the edges, and the way Travis said, "We'll take care of you," like he was the man of the family now, it broke me a little. Within 3 months, the house Joe and I had worked 40 years for was gone. We sold it quick to some investor friend of Brooks. Most of that money somehow ended up in their accounts for bills, fees, future care, Mom. You know how it is. I moved into their 2-story in a shiny subdivision outside Tyler, Texas. White stone, big glass, 3-car garage. The whole thing looked like it came out of a magazine. Brooke gave me a tour like a realtor. "And here's your space," she said, pushing open a door over the garage. "Guest suite, see? You got your own bathroom and everything, like a little hotel." No kitchen, no separate entrance, but I smiled and said thank you, because that's what mamas do. The first month really wasn't so bad. I cooked most nights. It felt good to feed my grandbabies, Maddie and Jace, real food instead of whatever came out of a box. I folded laundry, wiped sticky fingerprints, kept the house decent. Brooke would sigh dramatically and say, "Oh my gosh, Laura, you don't have to do all this," right before handing me another basket of clothes. Rent wasn't mentioned at first. Then one morning, Brooke sat down across from me with a laptop. "So we should talk about, like, the household budget," she said. "Nothing crazy, just fair." She'd made a spreadsheet, color-coded. My name had its own line. "See, with utilities, food, Wi-Fi, you staying here, your share comes out to about $900 a month. That's honestly less than it really costs, but your family." 900. My whole Social Security check was $1,150. "Brooke, honey, that doesn't leave me much," I said carefully. Travis walked in just then, kissing her on the head. "You can swing it, Mom. We're not asking for profit here, just help. You said you didn't want to be a burden." That word, burden, it sat in my chest like a rock. I signed the paper. What else was I supposed to do? Try to rent an apartment at $250 a month in my age? Things slid downhill real slow after that. "Mom, can you grab the kids from school? Brooke's got a nail appointment." "Mom, could you be a doll and wash my uniforms? The cleaning girl's off this week." "Mom, we're doing a date night. You don't mind watching the kids, right?" Every time I tried to say, "I'm kind of tired," I got the same guilt trip. "We took you in, Mom. You live here free except a little contribution. Not everyone has family like us." Free. That word made me want to scream. One night, I was loading the dishwasher after a dinner party they'd thrown for Travis's work friends. I'd cooked all the food, laid out the dishes, served drinks. As I walked past the dining room, I heard Brooke's voice. "It's actually kind of perfect," she giggled. "We don't pay for a nanny or housekeeper. Lori does everything, and her Social Security covers the bills. Travis calls it our built-in retirement plan." The table roared with laughter. My son didn't correct her. He raised his glass and said, "Hey, we're just taking care of Mom and making it work, right?" Everyone clinked glasses. I set my tray down in the kitchen and leaned over the sink so they couldn't see my face shaking. Joe's voice floated up in my mind clear as day. "If people show you they're taking advantage of you, Lori, believe 'em the first time." But I stayed, because where was I gonna go? Around October, Brooke came bouncing into my room with a Pinterest board pulled up on her phone. "So, we've been thinking," she said. "The kids are getting older. We really need that guest room as a study space. But we have a solution that works for everybody." She swiped to a photo of some fancy basement apartment. "We're gonna finish out the basement for you. Little kitchenette, small living area, and you'll have your own door to the backyard. Total independence. Isn't that awesome?" A basement. I stared at the photo. Tiny windows high on the walls. No natural light. "What if I don't want to move downstairs?" I asked softly. The smile slipped for just a second. "Well, obviously we can't keep doing this forever," she said. "We need our space. But I mean, if you're not happy here..." There it was, the threat. Later that night, I walked past their bedroom to go to the bathroom. Their door was cracked open. "I'm telling you, Trav," Brooke whispered, "we gotta move her down there before she starts thinking this is all hers. Once the basement's done, we can list the upstairs room for Airbnb or use it as my office. She'll adjust." Travis murmured something I couldn't quite catch, but I heard the last part clearly. "She's lucky we didn't just put her in one of those Medicaid homes like my buddies did with their moms." Lucky. I shut the bathroom door and pressed my hand over my mouth.
I had my Friday ticket tucked in my Bible upstairs. I remember thinking, I hope to God something changes because I can't keep living like this. Turns out something did. 2 weeks before Christmas, East Texas got one of those cold snaps where the wind cuts straight through your coat. My knees were complaining, but Friday is Friday, and I was not about to let weather stop me from getting my ticket. Inside Al's Quick Stop, the heater was so loud it rattled the chip bags. "Well, if it ain't Miss Lori," Al grinned. "Thought this cold not keep you home." "This cold's not half as mean as my arthritis," I said, digging in my purse. "Same numbers as always." Al punched 'em in. Behind him was the glowing lottery screen. Jackpot, $58 million. "Hey, you know we got that new loyalty thing now. State says we gotta print the name that's on your ID. Helps with security or some such. You wanna sign up?" "Why not?" I shrugged. He typed my name, Lorraine Mitchum Carter. A little line printed at the bottom of my ticket and on the copy behind the counter. Purchaser L.M. Carter, player ID 1043. Didn't think much of it then. On the way home, I slipped the ticket into the zipper pocket of my wallet, right behind Joe's photo. That Saturday, Travis and Brooke had some Christmas party to go to, so I kept the kids overnight. We watched silly movies and ate popcorn on the couch. For a minute, I forgot I was basically staff. I honestly forgot to turn on the lottery drawing like I usually do. Sunday morning, Maddie plopped on the couch with her tablet. "Nana, look," she said. "Somebody from our state won the big one last night." I leaned over. On the news site it said, "Winning tickets sold in East Texas, $58 million Powerball." My heart did a weird little flip. "Nana, you okay, Jace?" asked. I need my purse, baby," I said, my voice all shaky. "It's in my room." My hands were trembling so hard I could barely unzip the wallet. There it was, the same 6 numbers printed in black ink, right under Purchaser L.M. Carter. I must have sat on my bed for 10 minutes just breathing. Joe had always teased, "If we win big, you buy us a place with no stairs." I looked down at that little slip of paper and whispered, "Well, Joe, looks like I finally can." I didn't tell a soul, not yet. Instead, I called the number on the back of the ticket from my room phone, door locked. The lady on the line was real cheerful until I read the numbers. Then her voice shifted to serious mode. "Ma'am, please sign the back of that ticket right now and put it somewhere safe. You are the sole claimant on a winning jackpot. Do not show it to anyone. Do not bring anyone with you to validate unless you trust them completely." Soul, that word felt like armor. We set an appointment for Tuesday in Austin. I told Travis I had a doctor thing and asked my church friend Miss Patty to drive me. She was one of those no-nonsense ladies who'd buried 2 husbands and 6 siblings and still wore lipstick to Walmart. "You sure you okay?" she asked as we got in her old Buick. "Ask me again after Tuesday," I said. At the lottery office, everything felt like a movie. Security guards, glass doors, forms as thick as a Bible. They took my ticket into a back room for what felt like forever. When the man finally came back, he shook my hand like he was scared to squeeze too hard. "Mrs. Carter, congratulations. It's all valid." Miss Patty squeezed my shoulder so hard I almost yelped. The lottery folks offered me coffee, then started laying out my options like a buffet. Lump sum versus annuity, tax percentages, PR, privacy rules. "Do my kids have to be on anything?" I asked. "No, ma'am. the woman said. "It's 100% your legal property. You can decide later if you want to gift or share, but you are not obligated to put family names on a thing." That sentence sank into my bones. On the way back, we stopped at a lawyer's office Miss Patty recommended. C.J. Harris, attorney at law. He had cowboy boots and a diploma from UT on the wall. We sat in his office while I held that little ticket like it was made of glass. "Mrs. Carter," he said, leaning forward, "before you tell anybody about this, we're gonna build you a fence, a legal one. You dig?" "I dig," I said. He grinned. We spent 3 hours setting up a trust in my name with Miss Patty as one of the trustees just in case something happened to me. We opened a brand new bank account at a different bank than the one I shared with Travis. We also went over my life as it currently stood. Rent I was paying, work I was doing, how they were planning to move me to the basement. He listened without interrupting, jaw getting tighter and tighter. "Ma'am," he said finally, "what your son and his wife are doing is what we call elder financial exploitation, and if they think they're going to get their hands on this money, they got another thing coming." I didn't want to put my son in jail. I just wanted out. So we made a plan, claim the prize quietly under the trust name, buy myself a place, a 1-story condo in a nice active adult community, move out the moment I was ready without warning, decide later what, if anything, I wanted to give Travis and the kids. By Thursday, the money was confirmed, sitting in that brand new account like a sleeping dragon. I walked around Travis and Brooke's house that night, watching them argue about credit card bills and braces for Maddie, and all I could think was, y'all have no idea your burden is holding a golden ticket you'll never touch. I probably would have told them eventually, maybe, if they'd acted halfway decent, but what they did next made my decision real easy. The next week, I came home from bingo at the senior center to find my bedroom door slightly open. I always shut it all the way. On the dresser, my purse was tipped over. My wallet was half out. Travis had never been good at pretending. That night at dinner, Brooke was jittery, kept checking her phone. "So," she said suddenly, "any news from your doctor, Laurie? Everything okay?" I said, chewing my green beans. He said my back hurts 'cause I'm pushing 68 and y'all got me lifting grandkids and Costco boxes like a dock worker. She fake laughed, but her eyes flicked to Travis like they was sending Morse code. Later, I heard them in the kitchen after they thought I'd gone to bed. "You sure it was the same numbers?" Brooke hissed. "Positive. Her little crumpled ticket by her Bible. The numbers matched the winning combo from last week to a T." "Well, then where the hell is the real one?" she snapped. "They said the winner hasn't come forward yet. If she hasn't claimed it, that means it's somewhere in this house, and if it's in our house," he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. The funny part, they never found the ticket, because by then it wasn't a ticket. It was a photocopy in my safe at the lawyer's office and a number on a wire transfer. But they still thought they had a chance. The following Monday, it happened. I was making grilled cheese for the kids when Brooke came in, cheeks flushed, phone in hand. "Oh, my God," she squealed. "Trav, come here." He jogged in, tie already loosened. "What?" "The news," she shoved the phone at him. "They just announced the winner came forward. Somebody in our county. It's got to be her, right? She would have had to sign the ticket." My stomach did a slow little roll. The article headline said,
$58 million jackpot claimed by L.M. Carter Family Trust. Winner chooses anonymity. Travis's face went through 6 emotions in 3 seconds. Shock, anger, greed, panic, calculation, something desperate. He looked up at me. You didn't tell us," he said. "I didn't ask," I replied, flipping a sandwich. Brooks' eyes narrowed. "Is this some kind of joke?" "No joke," I said. "Y'all snooped my room, remember? Guess you missed a step." Maddie tugged my sleeve. "Nana, are we rich now?" "In a way, baby," I said, stroking her hair. "Nana's okay now." Brooks snapped. "You selfish old woman. We took you in. We gave up our privacy. We've been killing ourselves to support this house, and you go and claim our ticket without even telling us?" "Y'all's ticket?" I repeated slowly. "Who bought the thing?" She flailed for an argument. "You live here. Everything we've got is shared. That money should go to the family." I turned off the stove, took a breath, looked my only living child in the eye. "Travis," I said, "answer me straight. When's the last time you paid a bill for me?" His mouth opened, shut. "How much of my Social Security have I handed over since I moved in?" I pressed. He swallowed. "Mom, that's not the point." "The hell it ain't," I snapped. The kids went quiet. The kitchen felt like it shrunk. Travis finally blew. "You're not gonna freeze us out, Mom," he said, voice low and ugly. "You owe us. You owe us. You want to play hardball? Fine. Pack your bags. You can take your precious trust money and find somewhere else to live. We don't need your pathetic little check anymore. We're about to be rich with or without your say-so." Brooke folded her arms, chin jutted out in that way she got when she thought she'd won. "Yeah," she added, "you got 30 days to get out. That's generous considering. Maybe go find some old folks home that'll put up with your attitude." Maddie started crying. "Don't make Nana leave." "Go to your room," Brooke barked. "All of you, now." The kids scattered. And that's where we circle back to the porch. Travis threw my old suitcase out like it weighed a ton. Brooke stood behind him, clutching her phone like a sword. "We don't need you anymore. Not your money, not your drama. We're done. Anything you leave behind goes in the trash." I looked at my suitcase, my used-up Snickers, the house Joe would have hated, the son he wouldn't have recognized. And I started to laugh. Not a little chuckle, a full belly laugh that bent me over. "What the hell is so funny?" Brooke snapped. "You two," I wheezed. "You really are dumber than a box of hair." Travis's face turned red. "You think you're gonna control that money?" I asked. "Baby, did you even bother to read whose name is on that trust, or on the original lottery ticket, or on the fancy letter the state sent?" He blinked. I pulled a folded copy out of my purse and opened it slow. Right there at the top, "Payable to L.M. Carter Family Trust, beneficiary Lorraine M. Carter." "You can kick me out if it makes you feel big," I said quietly, "but you don't get a dime unless I decide to hand you one. And right now, let me tell you, I don't feel generous." Brooke snatched the paper from my hand, scanning it like she could change the words by staring hard enough. "This doesn't mean anything," she said, but her voice shook. "Travis is your son. The court would never let you cut us out." "The court?" I raised an eyebrow. "You planning to sue me over my winnings?" Silence. That's when my ride pulled up. Miss Patty's Buick stopped at the curb, horn giving a little toot. She stepped out in the church heels like a general arriving at the front line. "You ready, sugar?" she called. "The movers are already at the new place. They say the porch swing you picked out is real cute." I turned back to my son. "You gave me 30 days, I said. I only needed 3.
My new place was everything Joe and I used to daydream about. One story, no stairs, big windows, little yard with a tree where birds actually sing instead of construction noise. The community had a clubhouse with bingo, water aerobics, even a book club where the ladies drank more wine than they discussed novels. Miss Patty helped me hang Joe's photo by the door. "We really did it, didn't we?" I said. "Damn right we did," she replied. Then she looked sheepish. "'Scuse my French. Church lady, wrong vocab." We both cackled. That first night, I sat on my own couch in my own living room knowing the deed was in my trust name, not my son's. If I wanted to eat cereal for dinner, watch TV till 2 a.m., nobody could say a thing. Freedom tastes like air-popped popcorn and Netflix, if you're wondering. The local news wouldn't leave the story alone. East Texas grandma wins $58 million, moves out of toxic family home, one headline read after some neighbor filmed my grand exit on their phone and posted it. Reporters kept calling. I stayed anonymous, mostly, but I did agree to one interview with my face blurred and my voice changed. "What would you say to other seniors in your position?" the reporter asked. I said, "If somebody makes you feel like a burden, that ain't love. You're not a bill to be paid. You're a human being. And if they're living off your money while treating you like a maid, you have every right to leave and take your wallet with you." The clip went kind of viral. Older folks in the comments were out there like, "Go on, Miss Lori." While all that was happening, my attorney, CJ, called me in. "There's something else we need to talk about," he said, tapping a file on his desk. "What I'm secretly related to Beyonce," I joked. He smiled. "Not quite. This is about your late husband." Turned out Joe had been squirreling away money I didn't know about. Little overtime checks, odd jobs, investments somebody at the plant helped him set up. All of it had been sitting in an account I never touched because I didn't know it existed. CJ slid a statement toward me. "About $240,000, he said, "left in a separate trust with a note that it's for you only in the event your son ever pulls what Joe called funny business." There in Joe's messy handwriting on a scanned form were the words, "If Travis ever tries to use his mama like a piggy bank, this is her go-to-hell fund." I laughed so hard I cried. He really did see it coming. "Use it how you see fit," CJ said gently. "You've got more money than most small towns at this point, but this is love, Lori, from him to you. Might want to keep it separate, just for your heart." I nodded, pressing my palm over the paper like I could feel Joe's hand through it.
You're probably wondering what happened to Travis and Brooke. I wasn't watching them like a hawk or anything, but news in a town like ours travels faster than Wi-Fi. Without my monthly contribution, bills started piling up. Brooke had already quit a part-time job when I moved in, said she wanted to focus on the kids and her online boutique. Her boutique, far as I could tell, was just her buying clothes from China and reselling them on Instagram. Travis was in sales, commission only, which is a fancy way of saying income went up and down like a yo-yo. When they thought they were about to get lottery money, they spent like they already had it. Put down a non-refundable deposit on a beach condo for the whole family. Funny how I wasn't in that group text. Ordered new furniture on credit. Scheduled that basement renovation anyway because we'll get top dollar when we sell. 12 weeks later, the renovation guy posted on Facebook about clients who ghost and bounce checks. You didn't have to be a detective to connect the dots. I got the real tea from Maddie during one of our Sunday calls. "Dad's mad all the time," she whispered into the phone.
He and Brooke fight about money. They said they gonna have to sell the house. I felt a tug in my chest, but not enough to make me pack a rescue bag. Instead, I talked to CJ about something else. Is there a way, I asked, to help the kids without putting another dime in Brooke's hands? We set up college funds for both grandbabies through the trust, ironclad, couldn't be cashed out for credit cards or cruises. I didn't tell Travis, I just mailed each child a little card. Nana took care of your future. You focus on being a kid. Love, Nana Laurie. They sent me drawings as thank yous, crayon hearts, stick figure versions of us holding hands. That was worth more than any lottery. About 6 months after I moved out, there was a knock at my condo door. I expected Amazon. Instead, it was Travis. He looked smaller. The fancy watch was gone, shirt wrinkled, eyes tired. "Hey, Mom," he said, shifting from foot to foot. "Can we talk?" I thought about slamming the door. Instead, I opened the screen and stepped onto the porch. "We can talk out here," I said. "I'm making chili and I don't want it to burn." He gave a short, humorless laugh. "You are always cooking something." Silence stretched between us. "How's the new place?" he asked, finally, like we were strangers bumping into each other at Walmart. "Peaceful," I said. "How's your house?" His jaw flexed. "Sold. We close next week. Market dropped, we barely broke even. Renting now." I nodded. "That's rough." He looked up at me, eyes shiny. "I messed up, Mom," he said. "Like, really messed up. I let Brooke talk me into things, but I'm a grown man. I made those choices, and you were the one who paid." It's funny. I had dreamed of hearing those words. I thought they'd feel like fireworks. Instead, they just hurt. "I was grieving your dad," I said quietly. "You used that. Whether you meant to or not, you did." "I know," he whispered. "I see that now. Therapy's been a lot." He gave a short laugh. "Do you know how embarrassing it is sitting in a room telling a stranger you kicked your own mom because you thought you deserved her money?" We stood there listening to the birds. "Mom," he said again, "I'm not here to ask for a check, I swear. I know I've burned that bridge. I'd like a chance to earn back being your son. Not your landlord, not your retirement plan. Just your kid." I studied his face. The little boy who used to crawl into my lap after nightmares was still in there somewhere, buried deep under pride and bad decisions, but there. "You don't get to skip the consequences, Travis," I said. "I know. You're gonna have to work hard at a real job and it being decent. No more treating people like ATMs, especially the women in your life. Understood?" "Yes, ma'am." "And you're not stepping foot in my finances, ever. Not as power of attorney, not as trustee, not even to help with online banking. You and money and me, that triangle is broken. You okay with that?" He nodded, eyes full. "If you want to come by on Sundays and have coffee on this porch, we can start there. You bring donuts. I'll make eggs. We talk about normal stuff, work, the kids, whether the Cowboys will ever win anything." A tiny smile tugged his mouth. "That sounds nice," he said. "I'll bring the fancy donuts. You deserve at least that." "We'll see if the donuts are any good," I said, trying not to smile too much. He turned to leave, then hesitated. "Mom." "Yeah?" "Do you ever forgive yourself for letting people treat you bad for so long?" That one hit deep.
I'm working on it, same as you." He nodded and walked down the path. I watched his back and thought, "Joe, I hope you're seeing this. Your boy might finally be pulling his head out of his behind."
Sometimes I sit on that porch swing in the evenings, watching the sun slip behind the trees. The neighbors' dogs bark, kids ride their bikes, somebody grills, and the whole place smells like summer. I think about the day Travis threw my suitcase on that porch and told me to go rot somewhere else. I think about my hand shaking around that little slip of paper at Al's Quick Stop, about Joe's secret go-to-hell fund, about Miss Patty in her church heels standing between me and my own family like a bouncer. And I think about you. Yeah, you, the one listening to this on your phone or your TV, wondering if your own kids or in-laws are using you. Here's what I want to tell you plain. You are not a burden. Your money is not community property just because you share DNA. Love doesn't charge you rent to sleep in the guest room and then brag about you at dinner parties. If somebody is living on your check while talking to you like you're in the way, that's not family. That's a scam with a casserole. I got lucky. A handful of numbers, a state lottery, and a smart lawyer who planned ahead gave me a way out. But you don't need $58 million to stand up for yourself. You just need one brave moment where you say, "No more. I'm done being your backup plan." If that means moving to a small place of your own, do it. If it means telling your kids you're not co-signing another loan, do it. If it means calling a lawyer or a social worker or the senior center and saying, "I think I'm being taken advantage of," do it. You are not too old. You are not too late. If a tired, soft-spoken grandma from Texas can go from renting the guest room in her son's house to sitting on her own porch swing with a bank account she controls and a life she chose, baby, there is nothing stopping you from flipping your own story. Thanks for listening to mine. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me, if you were in my shoes, would you have given Travis any of that lottery money? I'll be in the comments reading every story, cheering for every grandma who decides she's done being a piggy bank. Your voice matters.